High Commissioner to Australia, Sri Nagesh Singh, as also our Joint Secretary who looks after Australia in the Ministry of External Affairs, Sri Vishwesh Negi. With that, I hand over the floor to Foreign Secretary to give his initial remarks on the developments of the day and on the developments of this particular visit. Sir, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Randir. Good evening, all. Thank you for being here. I'm happy to brief you on the ongoing visit of the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi, to Australia, to the city of Melbourne. It's been an intense and fruitful day. The Prime Minister arrived in Melbourne yesterday in the night, but despite the late hour, he was welcomed at the airport by the Premier of Victoria, and then later at the hotel he received a traditional welcome from the Indian community resident here in Melbourne. During the course of the day, in the various interactions that took place, the warmth and personal connection that has been forged between Prime Minister Modi and Prime Minister Albanese was very much in evidence. The relationship between India and Australia is a dynamic and fast-growing one, and we are now into the 6th year of our comprehensive strategic partnership, and it's a partnership that has consistently deepened across the multiple sectors of trade, defense, energy, education, technology, and of course, at the very foundation, people-to-people relations. In many areas, strategic convergence has accelerated. Our economic relationship continues to deepen, and the connection between our people, which was very much evident at the event that just concluded a short while ago at Marvel Stadium, and which the Prime Minister has rightly recognized as the living bridge between our two nations, has further strengthened. Today, the day began with the India-Australia CEOs Forum and the Economic Roadmap business reception with top Indian and Australian business leaders in attendance. The India-Australia Economic Cooperation and Trade Agreement, which was concluded in 2022, has delivered tangible benefits for businesses and consumers in both countries. Since its entry into force, it has delivered a 55% increase in two-way trade between the two countries. And as you would be aware, both sides are now negotiating a comprehensive economic cooperation agreement in order to unlock the full potential of the bilateral economic relationship. And during the course of the discussions today, both leaders gave instructions for this agreement to be concluded at the earliest possible. Following these events, the Prime Minister arrived at Government House here in Melbourne and was accorded a ceremonial welcome. He was welcomed there by the Governor of Victoria, Her Excellency the Honourable Margaret Gardner, followed by a brief interaction between the two leaders. This was then followed by a one-on-one interaction between Prime Minister Modi and Prime Minister Albanese, and then the regular delegation level talks for the annual summit. And this provided the two leaders to review the entire spectrum of the comprehensive strategic partnership, as well as exchange perspectives on regional and global issues of interest, including the Indo-Pacific and the region that both of us inhabit. The discussions were very productive. The meeting was held in a very, very warm atmosphere. Prime Minister recalled his previous visit to Australia in May 2023, and both Prime Ministers agreed that as two democratic countries, two multicultural societies, and two powers that reside at the edges of the Indian Ocean, both countries have an enormous amount of strategic convergence on them on key issues of the day. The two countries have similar aspirations and a shared approach to ensure a free, open, and prosperous Indo-Pacific region. One of the key outcomes of the meeting today was the adoption of the Joint Declaration on Defence and Security Cooperation, as well as an India-Australia Maritime Security Collaboration roadmap. These are they constitute recognition that the partnership must evolve to meet changing strategic circumstances, and they reflect a commitment to advancing our defense and security partnership. The Prime Ministers also recognize the central role of industry-led partnerships and strategic investments in deepening cooperation to support reliable, affordable, and sustainable energy supply. To this effect, they released a joint statement on energy security, which is also available in the public domain, and it reiterates our commitment to continued flow of energy between the two countries. The Prime Minister noted that India is an important supplier of downstream petroleum products to Australia, while Australia remains a long-standing supplier of products such as coal and natural gas. And as a result of this visit, we also have the administrative arrangement for enabling the supply of uranium from Australia to India. And this is an agreement that builds on the earlier agreement on civil nuclear cooperation between India and Australia that was signed in 2014. This is a significant step in fulfilling the clean energy transition ambitions of India and the shared objectives of both India and Australia towards a clean energy economy and towards the transition to net zero. Both leaders also recognized that it was time to raise the ambition of the partnership on the emerging issues of the day, such as cybersecurity, critical technologies, supply chain diversification, and technology security. And to this end, they announced the Australia-India Partnership for Cyber Critical Technologies and Supply Chains, or AI Pacts. There are several other agreements that were signed during the course of this visit. A full list is available in the public domain. You would also have seen the joint statement that has been released by the two sides, which also contains a mention of these agreements that have been concluded. The two leaders also touched upon climate change, which is an important shared objective and a shared concern of both countries. And Prime Minister Modi recognized Australia's leadership as the president of negotiations of the upcoming COP31 meeting. One of the newer areas, emerging areas of cooperation between the two countries is space, where Australia is taking steps to extend support to India's Gaganyaan, the human spaceflight program, and more steps are being taken in this regard. During the course of discussions today, Prime Minister Albanese indicated Australia's support to expanding the cooperation in the space field to several other areas. As I mentioned, the leaders also exchanged perspectives about regional and multilateral matters of mutual interest, including shared concerns such as terrorism and violent extremism, which impacts both countries, and both countries have seen terrible incidents in the space of the last year or so in this domain. Prime Minister expressed once again India's desire to see sustained peace in the West Asian region, which was also a subject that came up for discussion between the two sides. Both leaders also extended or reiterated their support to Quad and identified it as a key mechanism to respond to some of the region's most pressing challenges, including in areas related to infrastructure, critical and emerging technologies, cybersecurity, supply chain resilience, humanitarian assistance and disaster relief, maritime security, and counterterrorism. Prime Minister thanked Prime Minister Albanese for the repatriation to India of 4 cultural artifacts. As I mentioned, both Prime Ministers a short while ago appeared jointly at a major community event at Marvel Stadium, where they were welcomed by a crowd of nearly 25,000 people from the Indian community resident in Australia. That is a rundown of the engagements for the day. The visit, of course, continues tomorrow when in the morning His Excellency Angus Taylor, the leader of the opposition of Australia, will meet with the Prime Minister in the morning. Following this, Prime Minister Modi and Prime Minister Albanese will visit the iconic Melbourne cricket ground to highlight one of the other subjects, which is a growing sector of cooperation between the two countries, which is sports, and they will take this opportunity to unveil the India-Australia sports collaboration roadmap. You would be aware that with India hosting the Commonwealth Games in 2030 and Australia hosting the Olympic Games in 2032, this sector promises to be one that can see a lot of cooperation opportunities between the two sides. So, as I said, it's been a short but extremely productive and fruitful visit, several substantial outcomes, a number of important shared objectives being reinforced through the discussions throughout this particular visit. So let me stop there. If, as I said, you would have heard the Prime Ministers and their detailed press statements this morning. We released a joint statement as well. The list of outcomes has also been released, but if there are any questions, I would be happy to try and answer them. Thank you.
Floor is open. We go first there. Yeah,
Yes.
please.
Hello, sir.
Can you take the mic and introduce yourself?
Thank you. Stephen Jedgetts. I'm a reporter for Australian Broadcasting Corporation. Thank you, Foreign Secretary, for your remarks. 2 questions, please. The first one, on the new administrative arrangement for uranium, is it possible to provide a little bit more detail about exactly what has shifted in those legal arrangements to allow this trade to occur at a meaningful scale? What were the barriers that existed beforehand, or was it simply putting in the necessary instruments to allow the uranium to effectively flow? And can I also ask, was the recent ICBM launch by China into the South Pacific raised by Mr. Albanese with Mr. Modi, and what did the Prime Minister have to say in response if that was raised? Thank you.
Amrit.
So both Prime Ministers addressed the CEO forum. If you could list out the key outcomes of the CEO forum.
Okay. I have a question here.
So question is related to,
Please introduce yourself.
Sam Arun from DD News. As far as uranium supplies are concerned, just one clarification. Is it only restricted to the uranium supplies, or it is beyond uranium supplies as far as this arrangement is concerned?
Okay, there, please.
So this is Suryagni from IANS. So this is Suryagni Roy from IANS. A lot of Indian students had raised the queries that despite getting admissions or offers from good Australian universities, their visa processes get delayed. That affects them. Any discussions on that? Any green light on that?
Yeah, please.
Good evening, sir. I'm Suhas.
Speak a little louder.
Good evening, sir. I'm Suhas from All India Radio. Just to add to the question on nuclear agreement, what is the expected timeline from which the commencement of the uranium supplies will start? And the second question is, how will this specifically impact India's clean energy transition goals?
So we can take these questions.
Thank you. Let me tackle the bunch of questions related to the administrative arrangements related to the uranium issue. I think our colleague from ABC asked this question, and a couple of others have also referred to this. So, as you are aware, India and Australia had signed a civil nuclear cooperation agreement as far back as 2014. That agreement foresees cooperation in a whole host of activities, and not just uranium supply. I would say that's probably one of the areas, but there are a large number of other areas if you go back to that agreement, especially if you look at Article 6 of that agreement. There are a number of sectors that are highlighted there that are potentially areas of cooperation between the two countries. Now, that agreement is not a self-executing agreement. You have to have specific arrangements that need to be put in place in order for the benefits of the agreement to flow to both countries. And when it comes to uranium supply, there was the requirement for an administrative arrangement which had been concluded as well, but it had not been possible to operationalize it because there wasn't agreement fully on reporting related issues because these are ultimately transfers that will take place completely subject to safeguards. But given the fact that India and Australia bilaterally did not have an agreement on that issue, the agreement needed to be brought in line with that. That would satisfy both sides and would provide confidence that reporting procedures and reporting protocols were put in place that would ensure that the expectations of both sides with regard to the supply, the handling, and the accounting and reporting of material were in place. As a result of very intense discussions over a period of, I would say now, almost 2 years, both sides were able to mutual satisfaction to conclude these issues, and that is what has resulted in this agreement being put in place. Now, to answer some of the related questions on this, again, this is a G2G agreement that has put in place a framework that ensures that issues related to accounting, etc., are now fully catered for. Now, when it comes to the actual supply, these are matters that will have to be taken up between what I understand are private entities on the Australian side, because it is private Australian companies that are involved in the uranium trade, and their counterparties on the Indian side, organizations that who are ordinarily involved in importing uranium from other sources. So these two entities would now get in touch and start concluding commercial contracts for the supply of uranium. So I don't have a timeline to share with you, but I assume that these are things that will now start happening fairly quickly. On the impact on India's clean energy goals, I think this definitely constitutes a major shot in the arm for that. You are all aware of the fact that the country, we have set ourselves a target of 100 gigawatts of nuclear energy installed by 2047. And to that effect, we have also made several legislative changes in recent months. The Shanti Act is the embodiment of that desire to move quickly towards that target. It now opens up the nuclear sector in India not just for private investment but also for foreign direct investment to a considerable extent. So I think this is to the extent that this expands sources of uranium supply, reliable sources of supply for India. It will certainly contribute to the achievement of that target. On the issue of the CEO forum outcomes, I recall from the meeting this morning, this was really more a reporting of the discussions amongst the CEOs and the various areas in which they would be working. But I do recall the Australian chair of the CEOs Forum, Paul Schroeder, mentioning a $500 million announcement by Australian Super into the National Infrastructure Investment Fund, if I'm not mistaken. So that's one major development that was reported this morning. I'm sure my colleagues in the mission would be able to provide you with other outcomes from the meeting. On the issue related to student visas, yes, we are aware that there have been concerns amongst Indian students regarding some of the changes that have taken place in assessment frameworks and in terms of the delays that some of the visa applications are subjected to. But I can tell you that throughout the day, in all the discussions with all of the leaders from the Australian side, we heard nothing but appreciation and the laying out of a framework for taking this aspect of our people-to-people exchanges even further. There was acknowledgement, obviously, that maybe some of the processes have become a bit more onerous, but there was also assurance that this will not result in the reduction of opportunities for genuine students from India. And I am also aware that in this context there are some reports that people may be restricted from application, etc. I don't think there is any truth to those reports. So as I said, the cooperation on the student exchange front, and insofar as opportunities for Indian students to come and study here in Australia are concerned, we are reasonably assured that those opportunities remain open, they remain fair, and that Australian authorities continue to extend a welcome to these aspirants from India. I think there was one question that our colleague from ABC had raised about the ICBM launch. Yes, this was raised by the Australian Premier and there was a certain amount of concern expressed about this development. The Prime Minister mentioned that we see the Indo-Pacific as an area where we would like to see peace and security and stability. Australia and India have shared interests and shared objectives in this regard, and that we would continue to not only exchange our perspectives on this, but also intensify our cooperation in various areas to ensure that this the peace and security and stability in the Indo-Pacific area is continued to be maintained. Thank you.
More questions? First, we'll go with Jay there.
Secretary Ministry, thank you. Jai from the Australia Today. First question is, Prime Minister Modi raised issue of terrorism on his speech at Marvel Stadium. Was that issue raised in bilateral somewhere? A number of groups supporting terrorist activity or terrorist groups operate in Australia also. Is that a concern for you? And if it is, then is there a pathway negotiated to mitigate that? And second one is about Vanuatu and Fiji. Ease of navigation through the areas, is that a concern for Australia and India both? Was that discussed in the meeting? Thank you.
Sudhakar.
सर सुधाकर डीडी न्यूज़ से दोनों प्रधानमंत्रियों ने कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव इकोनॉमिक कोऑपरेशन एग्रीमेंट को जल्दी आगे बढ़ाने की बात की है, तो इस संदर्भ में क्या कोई एक्शन प्लान बना है या फिर कोई निर्देश दोनों लीडरशिप की तरफ से आया है? और दूसरा सवाल सर, बीते 10-12 सालों में हमारे भारत की कई विरासतें देश में वापस आई हैं, आज भी कुछ आर्टिफैक्ट्स वापस लाने के लिए ऐलान हुआ है, तो कितना बड़ा आज की डिप्लोमेसी में भारत के लिए फोकस एरिया है ये विरासतों को वापस लाना?
Please.
Namaskar Jaiswal ji. My name is Pooja. I'm from South Asian Herald. India has a diaspora of over 30 million, and Australia has the fastest growing Indian diaspora. And we've seen that India's neighbors use the diaspora as a strategic communication tool, feeding narratives, engaging with media, and so on. What are the concrete measures that the Indian government is taking, or the Indian missions are taking abroad to proactively communicate and engage with the diaspora media and community voices? The second question I had is that the Indian community is watching this very, very closely. And following the meetings between PM Modi and Prime Minister Albanese, what would you like the Indian diaspora here in Australia to take away from this?
Can we have the mic here?
Namaskar, sir. My name is Nick Atom, and I'm representing the Indian Sun. I come from a regional Queensland. My question is, the government build the relationships at the highest level, but communities build lasting trust, like the communities have you seen today. How does the India intend to strengthen the engagement with the Indian community organizations across Australia? That's first question. And much of the engagement is happening traditionally in Sydney and Melbourne, whereas diaspora is spreading, especially in the regional and the state like Queensland. Are there relationships? How do we strengthen the relationship in the trade, agriculture, education, and the defense? Where I come from is a defense town, and there's much opportunities. And what are the opportunities the Indian government is going to strengthen with the regional Queensland, sir?
So we can take these questions.
Okay. I think on the question of terrorism, as I mentioned, this is obviously a shared concern of both countries, and during the discussions there was reference to the horrifying terrorist incidents that have impacted both countries. And I would say that this is an issue on which there is complete meeting of minds between the two countries and an agreement on approaches, both in terms of communication as well as in terms of handling and building up capacities to address this challenge. You would have seen from the joint statement that has been released that this is a subject that has been tackled quite robustly, and both sides unequivocally condemn the scourge of terrorism and have emphasized the importance for all countries to join forces in combating the threat of terrorism without any double standards, and call for action against all those involved in any manner with terrorism. So there is a roadmap for cooperation between the two countries on this issue, and I would imagine that this will remain a very important subject for both countries going forward. You mentioned issues related to Vanuatu and Fiji. While specific countries and places did not come up for discussion, in general, the cooperation between Australia and India, insofar as the Pacific Islands are concerned and the issues that confront the Pacific Islands are concerned, did figure. And we have, of course, India has the Forum for India-Pacific Islands Cooperation Framework, and we undertake a certain number of initiatives through that framework, but we remain in very close coordination and consultation with Australia through other mechanisms when it comes to taking forward cooperation insofar as countries of the Pacific Islands are concerned, including, I should say, within the framework of Quad as well. So this is reflective of a joint priority that both countries have. Australia is also active within the Indo-Pacific Oceans Initiative, and that provides another forum for the two countries to cooperate. सुधाकर, आपने जो प्रश्न पूछा सीका के बारे में और उसके, तो जहाँ तक निर्देश का सवाल है, मैंने पहले ये बताया था कि आज दोनों प्रधानमंत्रियों ने ये निर्देश दिया कि देखिए, एक्टा से जो पहले 2022 में समझौता हुआ था, उससे पिछले 4 साल में द्विपक्षीय व्यापार में 55% वृद्धि हुई है, और इसके चलते हमें जो कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव इकोनॉमिक कोऑपरेशन एग्रीमेंट है सीका, उसे जल्द से जल्द आगे बढ़ाना चाहिए, क्योंकि वो एक और भी एक विस्तृत एक अरेंजमेंट है इसके लिए, जिसमें और भी चीज़ें आएंगी और गुड्स आएंगे और सर्विसेज, इन्वेस्टमेंट जैसी चीज़ें, टेक्नोलॉजी कोऑपरेशन जैसी चीज़ें आएंगी। और निर्देश आज के समिट से यही निकला है कि इसे जल्द से जल्द पूरा किया जाए, और अभी जो दोनों देशों की नेगोशिएटिंग टीम्स हैं वो इसी कार्य में जुटी हुई हैं, और दोनों देशों के जो प्रस्ताव हैं वो आपस में नेगोशिएटिंग टीम्स उनको देख रही हैं। ये काम चालू है इस समय पे। और आपने ये जो हमारी विरासत की कुछ चीज़ें हैं जो वापस आ रही हैं, आपने देखा होगा कि 3 आइटम हैं हमारी विरासत के, एक नंदी बुल है, एक त्रिशूल है भद्रकाली का, और एक और है मेरे ख्याल से कार्तिकेय की एक प्रतिमा है। तो ये वापस आ रही हैं, और आपने इस बात पे भी ध्यान दिया होगा कि अब देखने में आया है कि कई जगहों पे जहाँ पे जहाँ पे प्रधानमंत्री जी की भी यात्राएं हो रही हैं और जिन देशों से हम इस चीज़ को लेके बातचीत कर रहे हैं, कई देशों में हमें ये सफलता मिली है इस तरह की विरासत की हमारी चीज़ों को वापस लाने में। ये एक हमारी प्राथमिकता है, और कई देश हैं और कई जगह हैं जहाँ से ऐसी हमारी विरासत वापस आनी है, और इस पे भी काम जारी रहेगा। I think these latter 2 questions on the engagement with the community and the methods of engaging with them. Easily the most powerful method of engaging with them is what you have just seen a short while ago with the Prime Minister engaging directly with the communities. But we do realize that this is not something that's done only on one day in a year or only on one evening in a year. It's a continuous thing, and our missions, our posts, with the assistance and involvement of community organizations and representatives of communities, including, as you pointed out in certain cases, media organizations, do this on a day-to-day basis, trying to convey the message of not just what our priorities are with regard to bilateral relations with the country concerned, but also bringing forward news and latest developments about things that are happening in India, and most importantly, to try and provide the services that the diaspora needs on a day-to-day basis, and in fact try and improve the service delivery, the delivery method of delivery of those services. Increasingly in many areas we are using technology in a much more intensive fashion now and in a more innovative fashion to deliver those services, and I think engaging with the media organizations is very important in ensuring that that message goes far and wide within the communities. There was a reference to the fact that the community is not just in 2 or 3 cities, it's spreading out more and more in different areas, and obviously engagement with the media is important in that context to ensure that that message of what the missions and posts are doing, what's happening in India, reaches a larger and larger cross-section of the community. Insofar as strengthening the relations with the organizations is concerned, I don't know if the ambassador wants to, the High Commissioner wants to step in, but I would say that in Australia alone, we have, apart from the High Commission in Canberra, 4 dynamic consulates in different parts of the country. I recognize that there may be provinces, as you pointed out.
Brisbane, sir, was the last one.
Brisbane was the most recent one, so Queensland is covered by that. So wherever there will be a significant need, we will try and reach out through our existing missions and posts. I don't know if the High Commissioner would like to add anything on this front.
The other one.
Oh, this one. So just what I wanted to add, I was going to mention that the latest consulate general was set up in Brisbane. Just shows it's a manifestation of our determination to reach out to, to take diplomacy and relationship to subnational levels. Today, even Prime Minister talked about it in the business roadmap reception. He talked about, and he mentioned the complementarities by naming states of Australia and states in India where the partnership can be. And you can see last year the Premier, David Crisafulli, went to India with a business delegation. And if you look at the outcomes, everything from trade to manufacturing to education, all these areas you're talking about. So it's happening. And like I said again, I mean, today at the Prime Minister's level, he was specific in linking states between our two countries. So we are deeply engaged. And the biggest symbol of that is the latest consulate coming up in Brisbane. So that's all, sir.
Thank you.
With that, if there are no more questions, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your presence. We come to a close of